Hello everyone, welcome to Anirudh Prakhya YouTube channel. Today I am going to discuss Betadist function. You can see on the screen I have an Excel workbook open in which I am going to click on the formulas tab in the ribbon. Now I am going to left click on insert function. In the space here where you can see search for a function, I am going to type Betadist and I am going to click go. Now I am able to find the function Betadist function. This function is available for compatibility with Excel 2007 and earlier as well, and this returns the cumulative beta probability density function. The arguments to be input for the Betadist function are x, alpha, beta, a, b. Let's now go through the syntax and description of this function. I'm going to click on this link here which reads help on this function. Now this opens up a new window or a new tab. Here I'm going to describe the function and also talk about the syntax and what should be the arguments and how they should be used for this function to compute properly. You can see on the screen I have a help window open. I'm going to describe this Betadist function. This returns the cumulative beta probability density function. The beta distribution is commonly used to study variation in the percentage of something across samples, such as the fraction of the day people spend watching television. There's an important note. Within Excel, this function has been replaced with one or more new functions that may provide improved accuracy and whose names better reflect their usage. Although this function is still available for backward compatibility, you should consider using the new functions from now on because this function may not be available in future versions of Excel. So you can use the function beta.dist function, which I have already described, or I have already taught about beta.dist function in one of my Excel classes. You can visit the video on Anirudh Prakhya YouTube channel and you can go through the syntax and description. For people who are using previous versions of Excel, I am going to teach this class about Betadist function. Let's look at the syntax now. Betadist bracket open, argument x, comma, argument alpha, comma, argument beta, comma, argument a, comma, argument b, bracket close. The Betadist function has these arguments. Argument x, which is a required input for the function to compute properly, the value between a and b at which to evaluate the function. Argument alpha, which is also another required input for this function to compute properly, is a parameter of the distribution. Argument beta is another required input for the function to calculate properly and is also a parameter of the distribution. The remaining two arguments, argument a is an optional argument and is a lower bound to the interval of x. Argument b is another optional argument and is an upper bound to the interval of x. So even if we do not input any values for arguments a and argument b, the function will still be able to compute properly because these are optional inputs. Let's go through the remarks section to understand why this function might return some errors and what should we be doing to rectify those errors. If we encounter any type of an error like hashtag value error value, hashtag num error value, then what should we be doing? If any argument is non-numeric, which means the arguments, 5 arguments that we explored a little while ago, if any of them are non-numeric, then Betadist returns the hashtag value error value. Also, if the argument alpha is less than or equal to 0 or argument beta is less than or equal to 0, the Betadist function returns the hashtag num error value. So we have to make sure that alpha and beta values are always greater than 0, so that we don't encounter hashtag num error value. If argument x is less than a, argument x is greater than b, or argument a equal to argument b, Betadist function again returns the hashtag num error value. So while inputting the arguments or when we enter the values for these arguments, we have to make sure that this remark which is given here is not followed. So there should be no error, hashtag num error value. So x has to be greater than argument a, argument x has to be less than argument b, and and or argument A should not be equal to argument B. So these are the rules to follow to make sure that hashtag num error value does not return. If you omit values for argument A and argument B, Betadist uses the standard cumulative beta distribution so that argument A equals 0 and argument B equal to 1. So because these are optional arguments, the values that you enter, if they are not required, if you do not enter them while performing a calculation or a computation, then Excel uses the values argument A equal to 0 and argument B equal to 1. Now let's use an example and be a little hands-on with this function. So you can see on the screen there is a data and a description, and there is three more columns, which is for formula, description and result. So these are the details of an example. So we can either type this data and description in an Excel workbook and compute this example using the formula, or we can copy paste them. So now I am going to select by holding the left click the entries from data and description columns, and I am going to type Ctrl+C on my keyboard. So I have copied these values. Now I am going to left click on the Excel workbook. I am going to cancel this insert function. I am going to click on cell A1. Now I have to paste these entries. So I am going to type Ctrl+V, and I am copying the data from the help section into the Excel workbook. Now Excel is going to take a little time. You can see this blue color circle, which is telling us that Excel is copying this data or performing the operation that we asked Excel to do. So once we are able to paste these entries, we can proceed with the example. Now you can see that Excel has copied this, but the formatting that we see on the screen is different from the formatting that we want to see on the Excel workbook. So I am going to click this little icon here, which is hovering here. I am going to left click, and I am going to also left click to match destination formatting. Now again Excel is going to perform an operation to make sure that the formatting of the data that we have in description columns that we have copied match with the formatting within the Excel workbook. So the formatting that we see on the help window is different now from the formatting that we see on the Excel workbook. Now I am going to left click on cell A7, and also before we proceed to use this formula, let me advise you to save your workbook, because we have seen that Excel took some time to do this computation or perform this operation. So we also have to save the workbook. Now I am going to click on save button, and I have saved the workbook. Now I'll click on cell A1 and cell B1. I'll click on home button. I'll click on bold to bold the column headings. Then I'm going to click on cell A7. Now I have to make 3 more headings. So I'm going to select the cells from A7, B7, C7. I'm going to click on bold again, and here in these 3 headings we have to type the rest of the example which we have seen in the help section. So let me click on the help section, and let's continue the example by typing these 3 headings. For A7 we have to type the heading formula. For B7 we have to type description. For C7 we have to type result. So let me click on the Excel workbook. On A7 in the formula bar I am going to type formula and type enter. Then I am going to click on cell B7. Here I am going to type description and type enter. I am going to click on cell C7. Here I am going to type result and type enter. Now I am going to click on cell A8. Here we have to enter this formula. So if we have this data column in column A from cell A2, A3, A4, A5 and A6. So we have to use these as arguments within our formula. So instead of typing the values for these different arguments, we are going to reference to these different cells where we have pasted this data, okay, which we have here and where we have pasted this data. So in the formula I have to type equal to Betadist. In the formula bar I am going to click and type equal to Betadist bracket open A2 comma A3, cell A3 which is the argument for alpha, comma cell A4 which is the argument for beta, comma cell A5 which is argument A, comma cell A6, which is argument B, bracket close, and type enter. Now we got a result 0.685471. Let's verify the output of this formula with the help section of the Excel window. So I'm going to click on the help section. Here you can see the result is 0.6854706. So the value that we were able to compute using this formula matches with the result that we see here in the help window. Hence we have been able to compute correctly and successfully with the Betadist function. Now I'm going to click on the Excel window, click on cell A8, type Ctrl plus C on my keyboard. I'm going to click on cell C8 and I have to type, or I have to right click again and paste values. So I'm only going to paste the output of the formula from cell A8 into cell C8. Now in cell A8 I am going to click on the formula bar and add an apostrophe so we can see what the formula is. I have hit enter. Now we are able to see the formula. To proceed further with this example, we have to describe what we did in this example. So I am going to click on cell B8 and I am also going to click on the Excel help window and go through the description of what we did. So using this Betadist function, we are describing the operation that we performed. Cumulative beta probability density function for the above parameters. So let's go back to the Excel workbook and type this description. I'm going to type on the formula bar for cell B8. Here I'm going to type cumulative probability density function, comma, for the above parameters. Alright, now I'm going to type enter. So with this we have been able to describe the operation that we conducted as well. Now I'm going to select all the cells by left clicking on this little icon here, which selects all the cells, which means all the rows and all the columns are selected within the Excel workbook. And I'm going to double click on the column A to adjust all the column widths. So all the column widths will be adjusted. So now I'm going to save this Excel workbook. And after saving this, we have successfully completed this example. Let's verify if the description that we typed is correct or not with the help window once again. So here we have typed cumulative beta probability density function for the above parameters. I'm going to click on the Excel workbook and confirm that this is the correct entry. So with this, I want to conclude this discussion for Betadist function, and I want to advise every one of you who is watching this video to like this video, share this video, and subscribe to Anirudh Prakhya YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching. Have a good day.